Michael Ryan is roaming the streets of his hometown, killing at random. In 55 minutes, he has killed 13 people and injured 12. He remains unchallenged. As police scramble to pinpoint his whereabouts, brave soldier Carl Harries remains undeterred by the danger and tries to save people in Ryan's wake.
I felt that something's not right. And I had a sort of quick look over the car, and he was actually come back and was actually just the other side of the car. At that stage, I decided to get underneath the car. I don't know, it was quite eerie because you could see his foot, you could see his feet, you know, and he would walk, stop, walk back again, and then he walked off. All I could hear was a woman screaming, absolutely screaming her head off. And at the time, I was thinking, that's good, because if she's screaming, she's alive.
And I remember being crouched down, I remember looking up and I could see the car. I remember sprinting across to here, and I think the car that had been crashed was round about where the bins are now. So I literally stayed down, and then made my way up towards the cars.
When I got to the car, I realised that a shot had gone through the windscreen. And I later found out that they'd been actually driving down the road where he'd fired at them. And it was the driver that had been hit. The person screaming was his wife next to him, and he'd been shot in the neck.
The lady goes to me, I'm a nurse. And I said to her, well, stop bloody screaming and give me a hand. Get out of the bloody car and give me a hand.
And again, an ambulance appeared.
Please. Is he going to be all right, Ian?
Look, can I leave him with you now? OK.
Meanwhile at the hospital, Sarah Britton's job is getting harder by the minute. What was 1 or 2 casualties is now many, many more. Calls from frantic loved ones are also swamping their systems, and Sarah is juggling her time between urgent nursing duties and dealing with inquiries. As more patients come through, Alison's mum is rushed to intensive care with serious throat injuries, and Alison's leg injuries are baffling doctors.
Try to relax your leg a bit.
I was taken out on a stretcher, and I was taken actually and just examined and had some x-rays. They just had a quick look and they actually stitched me up, put me in a side room and said that I could go home.
When we first went to see Ali, it was quite a positive story really, because they'd sort of finished sort of cleaning her up and doing all the checks, and sort of I think probably were in the process of stitching her up, and I remember she'd had some injections, I believe, and at that point they didn't realise that she still had sort of a bullet in her.
By now, the urgency to contain Michael Ryan is immense. A police speaker system is warning residents from the helicopter above. Firearms officers are now being briefed and sightings are still being reported. But Michael Ryan remains at large. He is on Priory Road after entering the house of Victor and Myrtle Gibbs and shooting them in their kitchen. He then walks next door, shooting Michael Jennings, and across the road, firing at Myra Gita through a front window. 16 people now lie dead and 14 injured. Carl Harries has been chasing Ryan for the past 40 minutes and is still risking his life to try and save the gunman's victims.
This lad came out from about 2 houses away, and he goes, my girlfriend's been shot.
He took me upstairs, and in the front room on the big bed, the girl was lying there, and she had the fashion of the day, the tight jeans and that lot, and you could see an entry wound and a leg. We carried her down the stairs and sat her down and said, in the back room, so let's go to the back of the house, so if anything happens, you know, you can't be seen. Somebody said to me, oh, someone's been shot in that house. And I thought, oh, God, blimey. And here, where this new fence is, there was, like, fir tree type fence hedge, and I literally went up to the front door, banged on the door, couldn't hear anything.
Hello?
Lifted the letterbox, and one of those letterboxes has got a flap on the inside as well. So I was lifting up, and as I looked in, I could see a guy sat on the stairs. So I started shouting at him, "You all right? You all right? You know, talk to me, because I've got to get in." And he then sort of brought his head up and looked. He says, "Yeah, I'm okay." I said, "What's happened to you?" Because I've been shot in the leg.
My neighbours.
I said, "Well, I need to get in and see you." And I said, "Watch out, I'll kick the door in." He goes, "No, I can make it." And I remember him dragging himself across the floor and leaning up and opening the door. Got in there, picked him up, moved him back to the stairs, and again, he'd been shot in the leg. He shouted back to me and he says, "Can you check my neighbours, something's happened there.
I sort of tunnelled through the hedge and got to the house next door, and I knew it was going to be bad straight away because it had a whole glass front door and all the glass was shot out.
As Carl rushes to another house, Alison's condition alarmingly deteriorates.
I then had a policeman come in. He wanted to take some statements. He was talking to me quite normally, and he looked down and he just went really pale, and I thought, what's he looking at? He looked down and all the stitches had come apart and my leg was just pouring blood. And it was almost when they were getting ready to move her to a ward away from the intensive care unit, because obviously other people were coming in that were in a worse state really, that she collapsed, and then they realised that there was something that was still sort of not very right with her.
It is now 1:45 p.m. Michael Ryan has spent 60 minutes shooting innocent people in a random attack. He has killed 16, including his own mother, and injured 14. The family house is ablaze and has now spread to the adjoining 3 houses. Now he walks up Priory Road to his old school, shooting George Noon in his porch, as police start to close the net, and Carl Harris has just reached the home of Victor and Myrtle Gibbs.
This is the one stage I remember being extremely nervous about, going in. What do I do?
I was trying to be, tactical about it, military-wise, and sort of going in carefully, keeping low, and all the sort of things they trained to do. And because I was doing that, I didn't realise there was a big, massive pile of glass, and I started walking on the glass. And it made an awful noise, or it felt like an awful noise. And then I heard a noise in response, and I thought, oh, God. I just stood there. And then that noise, I could suddenly hear was a woman's voice. And she was like, help me, please help me. My husband, please help me. Dead quiet, I thought, if he's in the house, he must have heard that. He will respond, I'll hear movement from somewhere. And the stairs is to my right, I was just literally just staring at the stairs, in case he came down. And nothing happened, so I started making my way into the kitchen. And to my right, on the back, there was like a kitchen back door, and there was this old lady that was sort of like curled around the door with her back to the door, and her husband laid on top of her. And it was sad, because straight away you could see her husband was trying to protect her. And she goes, my husband, is he dead? And I said, no, of course he's not dead, don't be silly. He's all right, let's worry about you. And I remember lifting him up and pulling him off of her. And she had been shot. I remember having this plastic first aid kit, and I just looked at it, opened it, and went, that is just so no good. I thought, I need more kit. Basically, I need more kit. I was going to run back across the road to where the girl had been shot before and ask them if they had a first aid kit. And as I came out, I thought, now sod it, I'm going for it, and just going to run straight across the road.